Hello.
Hello. Yes.
Hello. Are you ready,
Yeah,
sir?
I am ready.
Hello.
I am ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's start our program. A very good morning to all of you. Now we are going to start our program with some Sanskrit sloks. Narayanang namaskrityam naranchoiva narottamam deving saraswating vyasam tato jayo mudiraya mukam karoti vachalam pongum langhayate girim yat kripa tamahang vande paramananda madhavam শ্রীমৎ ভগবত গীতাম সর্বপনিষদো গাবো দুগ্ধা গোপাল নন্দন পার্থবৎস সুধীর ভোক্তা দুগ্ধম গীতামৃতং মহৎ বসুদেব সুতং দেবং কংস চানুরমর্দনম দেবকী পরমানন্দম কৃষ্ণং বন্দে জগদ্গুরুম শ্রী ভগবানুবাচম কর্মণ্যে বাধিকারস্তে মা ফলেষু কদাচন মা কর্ম ফলর হেতুর ভূমা তেষাঙ্গস্ত কর্মণি আপুরিয়মানমচল প্রতিষ্ঠম সমুদ্রমাপ প্রবিশন্তি যতবৎ ততবৎ কামায়ং প্রবিশন্তি সর্বে স্বশান্তিমাপ্নোতি ন কামকামি যদা যদা হি ধর্মস্য গ্লানির্ভবতি ভারত অভ্যুত্থানম অধর্মস্য তদাত্মাनं সৃজম্যহম পরিত্রাণায় সাধূনাং বিনাশায় চ দুষ্কৃতম ধর্ম সংস্থাপনার্থায় সম্ভবামি যুগে যুগে সর্বধর্মান পরিত্যাজ্য মামেকং শরণং ব্রজ অহম ত্বাং সর্বপাপেভ্যো মোক্ষয়িষ্যামি মা শুচঃ ওম তৎসৎ ওম তৎসৎ ওম তৎসৎ With this Bhagavad Gita, we are going to start our program. A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to our Panskura Banamali College. Welcome to you all in our two-day international conference on environmental education and sustainable development, interdisciplinary approaches and theories, organized by Teachers Training Department in collaboration with IQAC Panskura Banamali College. It's a proud privilege for us and a great honor for all of us that we have amongst us Day-2 sir from Sri Lanka, and he will be talking on that how eco-theological issues that to worship Mother Earth is the key to success to save our mother planet. Before we are going to start the lecture of Day-2 sir, let us introduce Day-2 sir. Day-2 sir is a renowned bilingual Sri Lankan novelist and poet and a blogger. His work spans a critical study of King Ashoka. He has 9 novels in English, 6 novels in Sinhala, and a collection of poems and numerous articles in newspapers, journals, and magazines. He is the author of the first e-novel in Asia and a Sadhu Testament published in 1998, and a first e-novel in Sinhala version, Nobu One. His first non-fiction work is Who is Ashoka. He is the only Sri Lankan writer to receive the Sri Lankan State Literary Award for the best English novel 3 times and awarded the Shark Literary Award in 2013. Being the first Sri Lankan to release his work online and for free access, he is often seen as one of the Sri Lanka's earliest and most vocal advocates for the e-book format, copyright, and Creative Commons. So, with this brief introduction, I am inviting our Day-2 sir to deliver his valuable speech. Sir, please start your lecture.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Subhasis Jana. Thank you for inviting me for this great occasion, and thank you for the opportunity to present my paper. And first I must apologize that I am not able to attend this conference physically, which I would have loved to do. So anyway,
please sound. I think that sound. Please, your sound is not so much.
Is it okay? Now can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
That's good. Okay.
Okay. So my title of my paper presentation is Nature Worship to Save Mother Earth, because Mother Earth is what we all depend on. Mother Earth is the mother of all life. If life is to continue, we have to save Mother Earth. That's why we have to go back into worshipping Mother Earth and nature. Mother Earth brings us to life, sustains us, providing us all our needs from her own resources, and in the end, we go back to her. This is our life cycle. This is samsara, dust into dust. We are totally dependent on Mother Earth, which we have forgotten or we have ignored in our anthropocentric arrogance. Even if we had believed in the ancient past that the earth and everything on earth had been created by an omnipotent being, we have forgotten that too. We, most of us, now believe we are omnipotent and omniscient, that we are perfect. But we could never outdo nature or what we have around us created by nature, or Mother Earth. She is perfect in every way. And over 100 years ago, we were reminded of this truth by Nathaniel Hawthorne in his short story, Birthmark. We should not interfere with nature in any way. And since the female is the life-giving principle, and from the beginning she gathered the food for her family and was closer to nature, our ancestors worshipped the feminine, the woman, the biological mother, or the provider and caregiver. I believe that nature domesticated the woman first, but the problems began when she domesticated man and allowed man to take over. When he became the provider, he also took control of the family, and with his aggressive nature, he replaced the passive, non-violent female deities with powerful, violent, and aggressive male deities. And Bhasmasura was born. Woman is to nature, but man is to culture is an old saying. But this is a universal truth which unfortunately had been hijacked, distorted, and misinterpreted by the male-dominated society. Man is responsible for all destruction of our environment. Only sustainable development possible is in mental and social development, in the development of human values and loving kindness for all living things. And woman is closer to nature because of her procreative and nursing powers, which are lacking in man, and she is also more sensitive towards all life around her. A woman feels motherly love, which a man could not feel. Man is not as sensitive. When he sees something beautiful, he wants to possess it, and in possession to destroy it. And that is why man is the inferior animal, distant from nature. That's why Gyna sapiens is believed to be higher in the evolution ladder than Homo sapiens. It's only women who can get mankind to live closer and in harmony with nature, without any conflict of nature and culture. When we worship the sky, the sun, the moon, and the stars, when we worship rain and the rivers, the trees and the mountains, we do not have to fight with each other, because all nature belongs to all of us, and we belong to nature. We are all children of Mother Earth. In addition to being children of God or Brahma, if we so wish to believe. The water flowing down a river does not discriminate between man and animal, or among men of different races, creeds, or castes. The light from sun falls down on all of us. None of us can claim the sun belongs to us and not to other people. No. None of us can claim a piece of the earth belongs to us, that the soil, metals, minerals, oil, water, or the plants belong to us. We have no right to exploit them or prevent others from using them. And one more reason we have to go back to nature worship, especially the worship of Mother Earth, is because it has now been accepted by many scientists that Mother Earth is a living goddess. Gaia was the name given by the Greeks to Mother Earth. We call her Jagat Mata, Mata Prithvi, Bhudevi, and by so many other names. But today people are reluctant to accept that Mother Earth could be a living organism, because then they have to accept that they are molesting, violating, abusing, and torturing someone alive. We have to get out of our anthropocentric mindset that man is superior to all other life and that we are the masters of the universe. In reality, we do not exist as separate entities, but we only coexist with around 30 billion other life forms, including the bacteria and virus. And when we go into nature worship again, we have to be very careful. We should never allow it to be institutionalized. This could once again lead to allegations, loyalties, conflicts, divisions, and we could get back full circle to a new segment involved in religious conflict. As an example, if we are to worship the moon, let us not argue or begin to fight who is on the moon, who owns the moon, and whether it's a man, a rabbit, or a duck that we see on the moon. We have a famous old saying, shoot only pictures, leave only footprints, but it's not valid any longer. Today we realize that that almost every footprint left on earth by man has been destructed. Man has destroyed everything where he stepped on. And when we talk of the Anthropocene, it's a concept that arose probably around 200, 300 years ago, but probably it became a bigger crime, bigger crisis over the last century. And it proved to us that man was able to destroy within 100 years what nature had created over billions of years. And one of the major problems which we have to take action if we are to protect Mother Earth is the problem of environmental pollution, and many of the disasters could be prevented of nature and teachings of religious leaders like the Buddha. And the root cause of all this is probably greed. And because of greed, we resort to overconsumption. I call it obscene overconsumption, which we have to give up. All our worries, our concerns about ecosystem, eco-destruction, and eco-criticism are the result of our anthropocentric arrogance and our greed. We believe that the entire universe is there to serve us, to try to satisfy our greed. It's time we realize that we are only predatory parasites on the skin of Mother Earth. Predatory as we prey on each other, and parasitic as we feed on Mother Earth. We have become the most harmful invasive species in the world. Let us heed Ashoka's Delhi Topra Pilla Jive na Jive no Pusutaviye. Living must not live on the living. We should never resort to take life of any other living thing just for our survival. And there are very simple 5 positive ways to achieve this, irrespective of one's race or creed. Buddhists have a practice of observing the 5 precepts, but unfortunately it has failed because it makes us promise to abstain from certain acts. Such a negative approach could never succeed. Let us look at a more positive approach. The day all human beings come to realize that harming other living beings, taking what is not given, giving in to sensual urges, uttering untruths, and consuming psychoactive substances can all be easily avoided, are not necessary to achieve happiness or to be successful. On that day, Mother Earth could have heaved a huge sigh of relief. From then on, we could have a paradise to live in, a Garden of Eden and a utopia. And Mother Earth sometimes has lost her patience and warned us on several occasions. A few examples are in 1931, 4 million people died in the floods in China. In 1970, Bola cyclone killed 500,000 people in Bangladesh. In 2004, Indian Ocean tsunami happened. 2008, Sichuan earthquake. And 2010, Icelandic volcano. And then the Japan tsunami. All these we had to take as warnings by Gaia or Mother Earth that has only created destruction. We can't be proud of any of our discoveries, any of our inventions which benefited the entire Mother Earth or the entire life on Earth. The only way development can be sustainable is if we consider our spiritual and human development devoid of desire, greed, and envy. If we can accept Mother Earth is a living entity, then all we have to do is give her our loving kindness, practice ahimsa, try to treat her as our own mother. Then we will think twice before doing anything that would hurt our mother or her children. Her children are our brothers and sisters. We are all one family. All the human beings, all the animals from elephants to ants, and all the plant life from vanaspati to algae. I believe that every step we take forward in our culture is a step towards destruction of nature. Man did not evolve from barbarians, but barbarians evolved from modern man. So let us live in harmony with nature. Let us worship nature as something sacred. Let us be satisfied with what we have and not lust for what others have or enjoy. Let us open our eyes to realize that small is beautiful, not because Schumacher reminded us about it, but because it's a lesson we have learned from our religious leaders. Let us be peaceful and useful for all life on earth. And we have to avoid overconsumption. And we have to also control our consumption. Once our ancestors started wearing clothes, they would have been worn until they were too ragged and beyond any further use. A very good example is the monk's robes as explained in the Mahavagga Tivarakanda Sutra. And here we also learn about sharing. This example is the repeated reuse of a monk's robes in ancient times, because they really practiced the 3 R's: reuse, repair, recycle. When a robe was too old to wear, it was used as a bed cover and then to cover pillows. After that, as foot towels, as dusters, as floor mats. In the end, when it becomes an unusable rag, it's mixed with mud to support the walls and floors. That is really the use of 3 R's. We hardly reuse, we hardly repair, and we hardly try to recycle anything. We just consume and throw away, destroy whatever resources we have. And that is why I talk of rightful consumption. It is one way of acting with the compassion towards all life, leaving enough for all other creatures to consume without disturbing the ecological balance. Right consumption has to be promoted as a moderate or a secular way of life, which could be practiced by anyone of any faith without compromise. We can worship nature while practicing our whatever religious practices we have. And we have to think of what man would have behaved in the past. He would have consumed food only when he was hungry and quenched his thirst by drinking water, like all other animals do. All other animals don't have other beverages to drink. They eat when they are hungry. And the ancient man would have found shelter in a cave or built a small temporary shelter only to find refuge from the hot sun or rain. He would have covered his body only for protection from the cold or the elements. In the entire animal kingdom, we humans are the only creatures who are ashamed of our bodies and try to cover ourselves, and overconsume resources, cover and disguise our bodies. And all those actions destroy something from our natural resources. And let me quote something from Romila Thapa. She suggested that a fundamental sanity in Indian civilization has been due to the absence of Satan. But that was early India, when only Mara was the threat. Satan and Lucifer and the devil arrived much later with the European invasions. Then all of them found a very convenient and very efficient platform in the mass media. Advertising was first infiltrated and then taken over by Satan and Mara in partnership. And that's why we have to go back to gynocentric nature worship as the only way to exit the Anthropocene and androcentric Anthropocene. If we ignore the dangers, Mother Earth, in order to save and protect all other life on Earth, would not hesitate to destroy mankind, because her interest would be the lives of all other beings, where man is only a small component. This is what I have predicted in my novel, The Clone. Let's hope it will not come to that. Let's hope we can go back to nature worship and worship Mother Earth as we worship our own mother, so that we can save Mother Earth and we can save all life on Earth. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Daya sir, for your enlightening speech. It's a really a kind of valuable speech for all of us. Until and unless we worship our Mother Earth, Mother Nature, we cannot save our Mother Earth. Because as we respect our mother, we must also respect our Mother Earth. So I think that this valuable lecture will boost us, and all we can get, we are much more enlightened by your speech. Thank you, sir. Uh, if there are so many questions, I think that there must be suggestions, questions, and observations. So I'm requesting all of you to put questions, and whether you have any kind of suggestions or questions or queries, you can ask. Our Daya sir.
Yes, you can ask me now, and if you want more details, you can always contact me by email or WhatsApp. I'm
Yes.
always open. I'm always happy to share my views, and I hope that I can make even a minute contribution for the wellness of the world. Thank you.
Is there any questions, suggestions, or observations? Please. Actually, I can say one thing, that in this connection, eco-theology is also very interesting, ecological theology. And if we worship the tree, the herbs, the oronnani, and a forest grove, this is also very much important, because of that until and unless we must respect our Mother Earth, we cannot save. So we the men always think about that we are the masters of this earth, but we are not. We are a part of it. So we must respect each and every unit of this world. When we are thinking about just like only Gayatri Mantra, what we see that in Gayatri Mantra, the lines are very interesting. Om Bhur Bhuvashaha Tatsavitur Varennam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Yo Na Prachodayat, means, oh, the Bhur Bhuvashaha means you are the owner of this physical, psychological, and spiritual world. So please give me the energy and the spirit, so that we can know the technological figures of this universe. Priya, unmute yourself. Mute yourself, Priya. Mute yourself. Hello, Priya. Priya, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. So I think that the asset lecture will enliven us and always give us a new outlook for paving the way for a kind of new idea, right? So we are also waiting for our next speaker. I think that our Shruti ma'am is our next speaker. We are waiting. Okay, I think that we will wait for 1 or 2 minutes so that she can join. Or in this moment of time, if you have any kind of question or observation, please let us know. Please have a kind of brief commentary on the asset speech, if you have any. Queen sir, please let me know whether Shruti ma'am joined. Hello. Queen sir. Okay, I'm that calling ma'am. Just wait a bit. We just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Ma'am will join. She was busy with some other activities. Let's wait for 1 minute. Thank you, Joya sir, for your enlivening speech and enlightening speech. We are really boosted by your speech.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is our Professor Dr. Shruti Das, Head PG Department of English, Barampur University, Odisha, and her title of talk is Stories We Live By, Ecological Ethics and Post-Humanism. So I'm inviting our Honorable Shruti ma'am to deliver her speech. Before we are going to start her speech, let me introduce our Professor Dr. Shruti Das ma'am. So Professor Shruti Das is the Head Department of English and Director Center for Canadian Studies, Barampur University. She is a critic, translator, and poet writing bilingually in English and her native tongue Odia. She has participated, presented papers as plenary and keynote speaker, and chaired sessions in many national and international seminars and webinars on English language, literature, and ecocriticisim in India, Malaysia, Nepal, USA, and many European countries. She has been a visiting lecturer in 2 universities in Poland. She has the distinction of being placed in the ALA Directory of Scholars, Princeton University, USA. She has the honor of being the guest editor of the special issue Tropical Imaginings and Climate Crisis of the E-Tropic Journal, September 2021. She has published more than 70 research articles in reputed journals and has 11 books to her credit. One of her papers has been cited in a seminal book, Ecolinguistics, written by Professor Aaron Steve, published from Routledge in 2021. She has written the foreword in Crisis of Imagination, published in 2018 by Peter Lang for the University of Research, Poland. She is widely traveled and is member board of editors and member advisory body of many national and international literary journals. She is the editor of Literary Oracle, a peer-reviewed journal of the Department of English, Barampur University. She has been placed in the bibliography of Commonwealth writers for the first volume of poems. She has received the A.S. Elite Travel Award 2019 at the University of California, USA. Her special interests are post-colonialism, South Asian feminism, Indian aesthetics, eco-criticism, and English language teaching. So with this, I think that this is a brief introduction of our Shruti ma'am. So now I'm inviting our Honorable Shruti ma'am to start our valuable lecture. Ma'am, please start. Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Thank you so much for your kind words, dear Subhash. I thank Panskura Banamali College for inviting me again. I'm really honored to be in this platform. I was actually trying to share my screen. So much. This is a topic very close to my heart, and I would have loved to be amidst you people, talking to you, meeting to you, exchanging my thoughts and listening to all of you. I'm extremely sorry that I could not do that. I would like to share my screen and someone should help me how to do it. How do I present? This is a Chrome tab. How do I go to my desktop? Just give me a moment.
Okay, ma'am, no problem. Yeah, right.
I was this my window. You know what how to do it. So should I send it to you, Shivashish?
Yes, ma'am.
Should I send it to you?
The PPT.
The PowerPoint.
Okay, you send me.
Know how to do it. Just a minute. I'm so sorry. Just give me a minute. I'll try and present. Maybe. Normally it used to
You can
show
send
this.
to our B.Ed department a mail. That will be also very fine.
What?
From where you got the email.
No, earlier they used to allow us to share, but now I don't know how. Right? There are no options here. Okay. How do I do it? See, when it is present now, what will I present? I'm going to the entire tab, they're not showing me anything. I go to Windows,
Okay.
and then what do I do?
Okay, please wait.
Oh my God. Alright, what I'll do is I will go here and send you PPT, right? Then can you share it? I'll send it immediately.
Okay. You can share your PPT.
I am trying to. 1 minute, please. Just 1 minute. Stories will live by, right? Done. I've already sent it to you. Have you received it? Did you receive it? Did you receive it?
I'm just.
It's in your email. Did you receive it?
Yes, I got it.
No, please share it. Okay, great.
Yes, I got it.
What is this?
ನಾನು ಪಿಪಿಟಿটা কোথায় পাবো? পিপিটিটা খুলে নিয়েছি।
Oh, this is such a small screen. Can't you put it in your desktop?
Please wait. I'm doing.
একটা ডাউনলোড করো।
Can someone advise me what to do? Can someone please advise me what to do?
Just wait 1 minute.
Is it like visible to others? Is your PPT visible to others? You can put it on your desktop and that would be better instead of your mobile phone. So how do you get this? And nobody can read what is there, so no point. I wasted time. Anyone in the audience who can help me set up the, share my screen? I think young people know a lot of things. So could you just help me? Yeah.
Ma'am, below your screen from where you unmuted yourself, ma'am, the 5th number option.
No, there is no
stays
option
present.
here. There is no option. I cannot find any option. Normally there is some option. Right now there is no option. When there is an option, it always goes to Panskura.
There's 6 options.
No, below the screen, you see 5 circles.
Yeah, it says.
The right hand one. There are 3 dots in that circle.
And then I tried the window, and the window only gives me this particular screen. So I don't know. Okay, maybe I'll just talk. Let me see. Right, let me talk. If you can share the screen, good, well and good. Shubhashish, if you can share, slide by slide, I'll be happy if you can do it. Otherwise, I think I should start. Okay. This is a topic very, very close to my heart, which is ecological ethics. Right? Ethics is what we do right, what we do wrong. It's kind of, people say it's something like a moral. So, Jonathan Bate remarks in his foreword to the Green Studies reader that the key intellectual problem of the 21st century is the complex relationship. Yes? Oh yeah, good. I will say, you can mute yourself, Shubhashish. I will say next, and then you can go on. Right? Can we do that? Alright, so I was just saying that in his foreword to the Green Studies reader, Jonathan Bate has remarked that the key intellectual problem of the 21st century is the complex relationship between nature and culture. Am I audible? Am I audible? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Thank you. All right. So this relationship between man and nature is, or nature and culture, is a specifically human thing. Since evolution, humans have been dependent upon nature for survival and also are the sole cause of its destruction, bringing the earth and her inhabitants to the brink of annihilation. The global scenario in the 21st century, the age of biotechnology, appears bleak when the environment in the shape of water bodies, forests, lands, skies, and marginalized indigenous people and their knowledge being heavily polluted and systematically destroyed. So the knowledge is being not only polluted but systematically destroyed with amalgamation of the high cultures, and all these spaces, eco spaces, are being destroyed by the Anthropocene, the human prowess to more and more, to human greed. So faced with the pollution of both natural and cultural environment, as well as the commercializing trends and the destruction of ecological balance, humanities scholars could not but reflect on issues such as what is wrong with our environment? Why has the relationship between man and nature become so intensified? What strategies should we humanities scholars and literary critics adopt towards these phenomena? So this was something, one critic from China, Ning Wang, she has vocalized these things. Eco-critics can do nothing much than write and speak elaborately and intellectualize about man's ill treatment of nature and our increasingly threatened existence on Earth. Cheryl Grotfelty, in her introduction to the Eco-criticism reader, yes? Did someone want to say something? Okay. So. Tanushri Acharya kindly mute admin to mute. Please mute. This is what I call pollution. Intellectual pollution, when people are not interested and they just join and they are in the market space or somewhere. So Cheryl Grotfelty in her, we can have the next slide. So Cheryl Grotfelty in her introduction to the Eco-criticism reader published in 1996 defines eco-criticism as the study of relationship between literature and the physical environment. Early eco-critics were content asking questions like, how is nature represented in this sonnet? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, Cheryl Grotfelty tells us that eco-criticism is a relationship between literature and the human, the physical world, and non-human, the physical world around us. So, eco-critics all the time, till the recent times, concern themselves with how is nature represented in this sonnet, what role does the physical setting play in the plot of this novel, are the values expressed in this play some kind of play drama that they take consistent with ecological wisdom? How do our metaphors of land influence the way we treat it? How can we characterize nature writing as a genre? In addition to race, class, and gender, should place become a new critical category? Do men write about nature differently than women do? the premise of ecofeminism. In what ways has literary or literacy itself affected the humankind's relationship to the natural world? How has the concept of wilderness changed over time? In what ways, to what effect is the environmental crisis seeping into contemporary literature and popular culture? So these are the many questions that eco-critics used to write. They used to ask these questions. In the 21st century parlance, these questions and Glockfelty's definition seem rather simplistic, because we have come a long way from basic questions to now our question of survival rather than inquiry. In a post-truth era, plagued with global warming and under constant threat of climate change and the changing face of Earth, humans are compelled to think about their own survival rather than contemplate philosophically about how is nature represented in a sonnet. What role does the physical setting play in a plot of a novel? Are the values expressed in this or any play consistent with ecological wisdom? How are our metaphors of land? So how do these metaphors of land influence the way we treat it? How can we characterize nature writing as a genre? How has the concept of wilderness changed over time, etc., etc.? The current environmental crisis has brought us far from looking at stories and poems and other literary texts to locate nature and critique the representation of nature as such. Poems, stories, and literature as a whole have gained importance because they shape our thoughts and attitude towards nature, race, gender, and our harmonious existence on earth. Othering nature, othering means making it the other. So othering nature and exploiting it to a maximum leads us to the question of ethics. People-oriented ethics. So people-oriented ethics have dominated Western ideology, which has through colonialism percolated into other cultures across the globe. So today my talk would help, with the help of certain literary and social texts and contexts, that is, certain stories we live by, question and concentrate on the effect of human-centric ethics, which have created a post-human condition. Next slide. The post-human and the post-human condition. Next slide, please. The post-human and the post-human condition are complex and multifaceted concepts that cover many aspects of human existence and contemporary advances of technoscience. The AI, or artificial intelligence, and the cyborg. Now we have ChatGPT and many other things, robots. So can we have the next slide, please? The AI and the cyborg. So the next slide. Right. The AI and the cyborg, robots, and prosthetic humans comprise one part of post-human prowess. Okay, the prosthetic human is when the human is created through plastics and plasticine. So these comprise one part of post-human prowess and existence, while the second and the most important part is the living, breathing human being compelled to exist in a post-human condition. The post-human condition can have two fundamental meanings. The first one being, human has become post-human because of hybridization with technology, which is cultural post-humanism. The second is, human is going to be overtaken by a new post-human form of life emerging from the huge changes driven by technology, transhumanism, or hyperhumanism, or hyperbolic post-humanism, or speculative post-humanism, whatever you call it. Both are grounded on the economic and technology-driven transformation of the human condition. Coming to the human condition, I would like to just refer to the condition of the people in the Gaza Strip right now, where the people, hundreds of them, are being forced to leave or live in a post-human condition, without water, without electricity, without basic human needs. I'm not going into the political thing, but I'm just talking about the condition. So I'm not politically incorrect here. Thus, the PC can be, or PC or postmodern condition, or sorry, post-human condition, can be assumed as the metaphor for the hybridization of human identity, or as the description of the final state of the present human transformation. So these humans who are in the Gaza Strip, when they are hungry, when they are without water, thirsty, they are without electricity or the basic human amenities, whatever that is necessary for survival, would naturally become subhumans or abnormal. They would probably kill each other and drink the blood of others to quench their thirst, or they would drink their urine. They would do whatever, because everybody wants to survive till the last point. So that is also a post-human condition. Parisco mentions that in both cases, technology is the force informing our dynamic identity. Given the new form of technology, which is no longer limited to the external body but can enter inside it, we are shaped by the relationship with the technological others. The extent of Anthropocene advances today and the post-human condition are like Siamese twins, one inseparable from the other. Post-human condition can be loosely defined as a condition in which the human beings forget all those essential nature and characteristics which is primarily human and distinguishes it from all other creatures. Rationality, being the best of God's creation, etc., etc. Contemporary human society is characterized by ethical and moral decay, which get further push from industrial and technological development of the society. The more the human society moves towards growth and stability in terms of technological advancement, the more it rolls back in terms of its human and moral values. All the human transgressions in the contemporary times can be otherwise called as post-human. Situations like trauma, both mental and physical, drought, starvation, violence, isolation, sexual exploitation, warlike conditions, overexploitation of nature, etc., characterize this condition. The philosophy of speciesism and utilitarianism has made the human his own enemy. He takes recourse to the ideology of humanism to dominate over and exploit over nature and other forms of life. Logocentric assumptions and the dualistic concerns are the basic premise of the Anthropocene. René Descartes, in his Discourse on Method, discusses the tenets of humanism. Descartes believes that rationality and rationality alone gives an all-important edge to man to rule over the rest of the world. So man must rule over the rest of the world. This is Western ideology. This sense of superiority, endorsed by humanism, has become the success story of the human who fails to distinguish between human and non-human, and also other underprivileged humans. The evils of colonialism, the forced occupation of land, the next slide please. The evils of colonialism, the forced occupation of land, and enslavement of the humans and land point towards a post-human condition if we believe in Hamlet's eulogy, can we have the next slide? Okay, so if we believe in Hamlet's eulogy that man is noble in reason, infinite in faculty, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel. This I quote from Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet. Then Amitav Ghosh's book, The Nutmeg Skirts Parables for a Planet in Crisis, which is published in 2021, opens with a vivid description of the genocide of the Bandanese tribes, who lived in an archipelago near Indonesia. These tribes, the Bandanese tribes, they lived near Indonesia in an archipelago, and they were colonized by the Dutch colonizers in 1621. And this is a paradox. In chapter 3 of this book, Ghosh writes, the horror of the story of the Bandanese lies in no small part in the fact that their elimination from their land revolves around a tree, a species of incomparable value gifted to the islanders by the region's volcanic ecology. So nature gives you something very, very valuable, and the human, who is the paragon of all creatures, destroys them and then cries hoarse about depletion of resources. This was a unique variety of nutmeg tree that also produced mace and was coveted by the Dutch and the British traders. The Europeans justified the brutal action. Ghosh contends, he writes that if the victors, I quote from Ghosh's text, if the victors assumed that they had the right to formally extinguish a tribe, it was because European doctrines of empire had indeed evolved in that direction. Sir Francis Bacon, in his book An Advertisement Touching an Holy War, published around the time of the Banda massacre, writes, he says that, lays out in some details, so Francis Bacon says that this massacre lays out in some detail the reason why it was lawful, mind you, lawful, in his view, for Christian Europeans to end the existence of certain groups. So it is lawful for the Christian Europeans to end the existence of certain groups. This is anthropology. This is colonial. And this is why we are in the condition that we are today. So these wayward countries, Bacon argues, okay, so who are the wayward countries? The countries that the Dutch and the British and the French colonized. They are the wayward countries. These are not nations at all, but rather, quote unquote, routes and shoals of people. Just look at that, how subhuman and how, I know they are metaphorizing the humans as something non-human, subhuman, right? Routes and shoals of people as have utterly degenerated from the laws of nature. Such being the case, it was both lawful and godly for any nation that is civil and policed to cut them off from the face of earth. Right? Unquote. So look how the Western people looked at specifically these three nations, looked at the others in the world as some people who do not deserve to exist on the face of this earth. So they need to be cut off from the face of the earth like they are cutting off trees from the face of the earth. Next slide. Mass extermination of people and ecocide was justified 400 years ago and still is, as evident in the wars in the Middle East, Afghanistan, more recently Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and also Israel, Hamas, attack on Israel and Israel's attack on the Gaza Strip. The civil and the policed people were justified in attacking and extinguishing peoples who appeared errant or monstrous in their eyes. Next slide. This was because they presumed that it was their God-given right to rule over the world. It was rational for the Western people to rule over the entire world. This is a public story that creates a mental condition of hatred towards the other. The propagators of this message want to subjugate. This exemplifies how the 500-year-old humanism was evolving into what we call post-humanism. David Willis equates the post-human condition with Derrida's definition of deconstruction. That, I quote, "It is a disturbance, displacement, or disruption of the status quo." How simple. So the post-human condition, like deconstruction, is a disturbance of the human condition, a displacement of the human condition, and the disruption of the status quo of the human condition. Next slide. Food politics, colonial land use, and invasion into the other's culture and sovereignty, inducing trauma characterizes a post-human state. Ursula Le Guin, in her book, Ursula Le Guin, in her book, The Word for World is Forest, which she published in 1972, as early as 1972, has narrated a post-human world. Next slide. So, Le Guin has narrated a post-human world where the humans have escaped from a dry, robotized Earth to brutalize another planet which has an ecosystem similar to that of Earth. They invade and colonize a planet 27 light years away from Earth. They enslave the original inhabitants, kill the deer. They kill the deer there for sport, cut down the forests, and destroy the water and land resources of that planet. They even rape the animal-like, furry inhabitants of that planet, apart from importing women from Earth to use them as sex toys. Cormac McCarthy, next slide. Cormac McCarthy in 2006 wrote a novel called The Road. Next slide. Next slide, please. So, this road is another story of brutal, inhuman existence. Set within a post-apocalyptic world, the novel narrates the journey of a father and son towards the sea in search of uncertain solace. They pass through blasted cities and miles of scorched countryside where lands are barren and nothing blue. Among the ruins are heartless looters and cannibalistic groups. I just told you a few minutes ago that when there are no resources, when there are ruins, like Israel's bombing of the Gaza Strip, there are ruins, rubbles, then people become cannibalistic because there is nothing else for them. So all of them become heartless looters. Just like the Hamas, for whatever reason, was heartless, killing so many Israelis and taking so many as hostage. Russia killing so many Ukrainians, and the ISIS killing their own people, the Syrians, so on and so forth, as we find terrorism everywhere. So these force people to get into these kind of a critical situation where they get into a post-human condition, which is cannibalism, or they become heartless heartless looters. Some unknown catastrophe has befallen the world in this book, The Road. So, befallen had the world and obliterated everything but some life forms spread across the earth, most of them being primarily human predators. The father and the son duo carve a brutal and inhuman existence in a wasted earth which is now occupied by some dogs, heaps of dry bones, and a few other travelers and the cannibalistic communities. Fear defines them. In fact, fear induces paranoia and pushes the mother to commit suicide. The mother is with them and she's constantly afraid there is some human predator after her. So she just commits suicide. We read, sooner or later, they will catch us and they will kill us. They will rape me. They will rape him. Because, even men are not, safe from rape. They are no exception. So they will rape me, they will rape him. They are going to rape us and kill us and eat us. You won't face it. This is what the mother says. She has become so paranoid. She's afraid that there are people after her. There are violent human predators after her. In another incident, while searching for food, the father and the son witness a horrible scene. They see a charred human infant, headless. This infant is headless and gutted and blackening on the pit. The narrative here refers to Anthropocene's Earth system layer and the ethical layer which have been invaded into, thereby creating a post-human condition. So the ethical layer of rationality which characterized or apparently characterized the human has been corroded. Next slide. The land was gullied and eroded and barren. The bones of dead creatures sprawled in the washes. Middens of anonymous, this is what I'm reading from the text. Middens of anonymous trash, farmhouses in the fields scored of their paint and the clapboards spooned and sprung from the wall studs, all of it shadowless and without feature. There is no shadow. The road descended through a jungle of dead goods food, a marsh where the dead reeds lay over the water. Beyond the edge of the fields, the sullen haze hung over earth and sky alike. This frightful account is what Rachel Carson warns in her book, Silent Spring. She had spoken of this and she had warned that one day the use of technology, of pesticide, of all kinds of, whatever we use for human comfort will one day bring us to this state. Excessive techno-scientific and anthropocenic interference with nature has its price and will cost humankind dearly. Similar kind of exploitation is described by Maya Lunde in her 2017 fiction, The End of the Ocean. Next slide, please. Here we read in this book, End of the Ocean, Lunde tells us that they are extracting ice from the glacier pure, white ice from Norway, and marketing it as the most exclusive ingredient to be put in a drink, a floating mini iceberg surrounded by golden liquor. The ice is to be shipped to desert nations, the homes of oil sheikhs, and there it will be sold as if it were gold, white gold, to the wealthiest of the wealthy. To see how human greed is trespassing all limits. The sheikhs, the oil sheikhs who are uber rich, extremely, extremely wealthy beyond the comprehension, normal people, are now importing the white gold, which is ice from the glacier. So now, people don't spare mountains. They blast mountains and lots of ecospace has been destroyed and sensitive flora, fauna have been destroyed, trees around have been destroyed by blasting mountains The dust of the mountains has created a lot of problems, pollution and problems for even humans and animals, domestic animals, wild animals. Of course, wild animals run away, they don't stay there. Domestic animals, humans. And when we take milk from those domestic animals, that causes more problems for us. So you see, they don't spare that. And now these greedy people, they don't spare the glaciers, which are very important for the survival of Earth. They chip parts and pieces from this glacier to the oily sheikhs, who put them in their liquor. So the golden liquor has the white ice, and how beautiful it looks, and how exotic it is. And the more rich you are, you get all these things. And naturally, for that, you have to exploit nature. So greed has no end. Rivers, waterfalls, and grazing lands have disappeared. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Neither do they care about the Lafona, name of the glacier in this particular book, okay, which is being destroyed. They don't want to hear, don't want to see, which is our condition right now. Nobody wants to hear anything. Nobody wants to see anything. So he writes, my generation, they just want better wines, better vacations, better vacation cottages, faster internet connection. And that is that is how she talks about the end of the ocean. And that is how where humanity is progressing now. So Farisco argues that the post-human condition is grounded on the technology-driven transformation of the human condition. Post-human condition can be assumed as the metaphor of the hybridization of human identity, or as the description of the final stage of present human transformation. In both cases, technology is the force informing the relationship with the technological other. I would like to further this and argue that our post-human condition is not merely shaped by our relationship with the technological others like cyborgs, robots, or supercomputers, but it's also negatively shaped by technology itself. In this context, one is reminded of the literary critic Joseph Meeker. Next slide. Kindly mute the person. Thank you. So, in this context, we are reminded of the literary critic Joseph Meeker, who argues in the preface of his book, The Comedy of Survival, in search of an environmental ethic in 1970. He says that the things of the earth are as provocative and important as the works of art or philosophical systems created by humans. However exalted one's view of mankind, the time has passed when it was possible to think of the world as man's oyster or even as his garden. Mind you, man's oyster. Those who attend exclusively to human affairs will find it increasingly difficult to understand their own experience, to live a rich life, and to survive. Meeker emphasizes that environmental crisis has become the occasion for a searching re-evaluation of human culture and its relationship to natural processes. Degradation of world biological stability is now obvious and threatening. Unquote. Yet, he believes that, I quote again, although some human beliefs can lead to ecological disruption, as they evidently have done, others may lead towards greater integration of mankind with the natural ecology of the world. So there is hope. Some may have destroyed, but now, even now, at least we can stop it where it is. We cannot bring back the world, but we can bring it as it is. So next slide, please. So this is the concluding slide. Thus, it becomes the moral responsibility of authors in writing stories that circulate and shape imagination in an eco-friendly direction, such that the stories are instrumental in integrating the human and non-human world for a sustainable future on planet Earth. Next slide. So it is our moral responsibility to face the ethical question of how we are going to present or how we are going to save our earth and present it to the generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. We are really enlightened and spellbound by your valuable speech. Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening speech again. Once again, though for the past time there are some technical problem, but we have overcome all such hurdles and problems. And I'm also reminded that about the line from Ishopanishad that how Isha Vasang idam sarvatrang jatkinchang jagattang jagat tena taktena bhanjita magrida karsha siddhanam. Really, until and unless we have the value education, we have the ecological ethics, we cannot just save our Mother Earth. So your speech enlightened us, and really it is a valuable speech. We must know how we can save our Mother Earth. Your talk on stories we live by, ecological ethics and post-humanism really boosted us, and we are really spellbound by your valuable speech. Thank you, ma'am. For the first time, we are very sorry because we cannot start our your PowerPoint because of some technical problem. But really, we are thankful to you, and we are really grateful. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable speech. And actually, we are in a kind of hurry, and we are in a time schedule. So our next, thank you so much. Our next speaker is also waiting, and I think that within 1 minute or so, we can have suggestions and any kind of observation. If you have any, please, you may ask ma'am any kind of question, whether you have any kind of query. We'll wait for 1 minute if you have any kind of suggestion, questions or observation. Anyone, please? Okay, I think that there are no such question. So thank you, ma'am, for your valuable speech. Yes, absolutely. Okay, thank you, ma'am. And now we are inviting Professor Ashish Srivastava sir, the Professor and Dean, Department of Educational Studies, School of Education, Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Matihari, Bihar. And before that, he was the professor of Vishwabharati University, and he is an erudite scholar, and he has done his research work on policies. And in about that, every moment of time, we see in everywhere how he is giving valuable lectures on ethics and policies of NEP 2020 and so on. So his talk will be on sustainability with respect to NEP 2020. And I think that NEP 2020 is the burning question today. So we are at a stage of what to do, whether to introduce or not, and how NEP 2020 and the environmental ethics and policies can develop our ideas and our thoughts. So without further delay, I'm inviting our Honorable Professor Dr. Ashish Srivastava sir to have his valuable lecture, to give his valuable lecture. Ashish sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sebashish Jenadi. Thank you so much.
Yes, sorry,
before
sir,
I-
because of delay. Okay.
No issues. So
Okay.
you have assigned me around 45 minutes.
Yes.
So should I
Okay.
assume that I am getting 45 minutes, or you are going to
Yes.
curtail it to
Okay. Because you are the last speaker, that's the reason, no problem about the time. Okay, you can carry on.
Thank you. So at the outset, let me express my heartfelt thanks to this wonderful autonomous college for organizing this very important international conference on environmental education and sustainable development, interdisciplinary approaches and theories. And therefore, I would like to congratulate Professor Nandan Bhattacharya, the principal of this college, Dr. Nirmalya Das, coordinator of IQAC, my dear younger brother, Dr. Sibasish Jena, my dear student and now faculty there, Dr. Rajarshi Das, Shukla Roy, Tuhin Singha, Shilpa Bhattacharya, and all my colleagues, because I am a frequent visitor of this institution, all my colleagues from this institution. I would like to congratulate Teacher Education Department and IQAC for taking this initiative for organizing this international conference on very important issue. Dr. Sibashish, my voice is very clear?
Yes, absolutely.
Just a minute. Let me use my microphone so that it can make more. Okay. So, for last few months, wherever I am getting opportunity to interact with the young minds, I'm starting with a statement, very famous statement of Thiruvalluvar. I don't know how many of you are aware of Thiruvalluvar. The Sibashish ji, आप mute कर लीजिए अपना microphone. So there is a very famous statement by Thiruvalluvar who says, "Let a man learn thoroughly whatever he may learn, and let his conduct be worthy of his learning." I am repeating this line for my young colleagues, for my young students, and I would like to request to reflect on this statement. Let a man learn thoroughly whatever he may learn, and let his conduct be worthy of his learning. So far as this issue is concerned, we are very much required to reflect on this statement. Since as I have learned today, I am the last speaker, second day of the seminar. I'm sure you must have heard many dimensions of this issue, and therefore, needless to repeat again about the anxieties, about the concerns of this very important and very serious issue of the globe. मैं इंडिया की बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, मैं ग्लोब की बात कर रहा हूं. So across the globe we are having anxieties, we are having concerns regarding this issue. And my dear friends, my dear colleagues, my dear students, those who are aware on this issue, those who are sensitive to this issue, they are worried, they are anxious, and they all are reflecting. And therefore, again, I congratulate these autonomous institutions, which deserve sincere appreciation for organizing this kind of conference based on such an important issue. Why I am appreciating? Because let me remind you from University Education Commission's report. I am sure you must be knowing this commission was chaired by Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan ji. This is a very beautiful report of higher education institution, and wherever I am speaking nowadays, I request to read at least first 50 pages of this report. Today many young students are attending this program. I would like to place my request, download this report, University Education report, and read at least first 50 pages, so that you can understand in a very synthesized manner, you can understand the spirit of entire education system from Vedic period to at least 1948-49. Okay, so why I have appreciated, because in this report of University Education Commission, somewhere Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan ji has written, listen me very carefully. Radhakrishnan ji is writing, the universities as the makers of the future. The universities as the makers of the future cannot persist in the old patterns, however valid they may have been in their own day. But then he writes, with the increasing complexity of society and its shifting pattern, universities have to change their objectives and methods if they are to function effectively in our national life. This is very important. These are very important lines. Universities as the makers of the future cannot persist in the old patterns, however valid they may have been in their own day. With the increasing complexity of society, and this issue is a kind of complexity, and its shifting pattern, universities have to change their objectives and methods if they are to function effectively in our national life. And therefore I appreciated this college, because I'm used to this. I used to visit this college. I know this is an autonomous college, and this college is having freedom to formulate its curriculum, and therefore such an important issue can be accommodated in curriculum like anything, especially when you are having National Education Policy 2020 in our hand, especially when National Education Policy 2020. May I request few of my students and colleagues, those who are having good conditions, good internet connection, can switch on their videos, so that सुबह सुबह का समय है, ऐसा लगे कि मैं अपने बच्चों से बात कर रहा हूँ, अपने दोस्तों से बात कर रहा हूँ, अपने साथियों से बात कर रहा हूँ. और ये तो इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है, जो कंफर्टेबल है वही ऑन करें, अदरवाइज मैं भी आई एम यूज्ड टू टॉक विद माय स्क्रीन, नो प्रॉब्लम. सो 9.3D, I was referring to 9.3D. When I am referring this 9.3D, I am referring National Education Policy 2020 document, where 9.3D. So when you will be opening and reading the document, you will be finding this point 9.3 subsection D, which is saying revamping curriculum, pedagogy and assessment, and this comes under our purview. So my dear friends, my dear colleagues, my dear students, we all are aware that currently the world population is around 6.5 billion and projected to reach more than 10 billion by 2040, and therefore we need to take a call for what? We need to take a call for what? We need to take a call for action concerning the conservation of resources, resource use and its management, erosion of farmland, overuse of both the surface water and the groundwater, dwindling supplies of finite fossil fuels, and escalating extinctions of plant and animal species, imperil the ability of the earth's resources to meet the needs of such enormous population. When my previous speaker was speaking, she has referred many important issues in her deliberation. And while Dr. Sibashi Jina was concluding, he quoted one sloka from Ishopnishad. Isha Avashmidam Sarvam Yat Kincham Jagat Yam Jagat Ten Taktena Bunjita Madhukasa Sudhanam. Whatever is there in this earth, use everything, but with a sense of sacrifice. With a sense of sacrifice. मैकॉले के बाद हमने रिफ्लेक्शन हमारा थोड़ा कमजोर हुआ है. We need to overcome that phase and we need to start reflecting. We all are aware that in 21st century, almost half of the humanity, mind it, will be living in cities. The world of the 21st century is largely an urban world. Over only 10 decades, the developing world's urban population around 100 million in 1920 to more than 7 billion today, and projections are suggesting to cross 8 billion by 2025. I do not know how many of you are aware of the report of World Commission on Environment and Development. If you are aware of this report, very good. If you are not aware of, you just download this report. World Commission on Environment and Development. You just read this report. Unfortunately, my experience, personal experience suggests that many of us ignore reading such reports. Anyways, World Commission on Environment and Development, there is a report by this commission. The name of the report is Our Common Future. Our Common Future. And this particular report suggests that that in 1940, 1 person in 100 lived in a city of 1 million or more inhabitants. By 1980, 1 in 10 lived in such a city. Between 1985 and the year 2000, third world cities could grow by another third quarters of 1 billion people. This suggests that the developing world must, over the next few years, increase by 65% its capacity to produce and manage its urban infrastructure, services, shelter, merely to maintain today's often extremely inadequate conditions. I would like to place my request again to read this report of World Commission on Environment and Development, Our Common Future, which is also commonly known as Brundtland Commission report, because this commission was chaired by Gro Harlem Brundtland. And so when you will be reading this report, you will be realizing that what we have shared thousands years back, this report is saying now. So what is the irony? What is the irony? What is the irony? Because you all are, many of you are a student, we need to understand the irony. पर्यावरण का स्वच्छ एवं संतुलित होना मानव सभ्यता के अस्तित्व के लिए आवश्यक है. फिर से मैं रिपीट कर रहा हूं ये लाइन. पर्यावरण का स्वच्छ और संतुलित होना मानव सभ्यता के अस्तित्व के लिए आवश्यक है. वेस्टर्न सिविलाइजेशन को ये बात 20वीं सदी के 20th सेंचुरी के लास्ट क्वार्टर में समझ में आया. while if you look at the Indian knowledge system, भारतीय मनीषा ने इसे, ये जो बात है, इसको वैदिक काल में अनुभूत कर लिया था. जो हमारे ऋषि थे, जो हमारे मुनि थे, वो जानते थे कि जो पृथ्वी है वो जल, अग्नि, अंतरिक्ष तथा वायु, इन जो पंच तत्वों से निर्मित मानव शरीर है. आप सब जानते होंगे, पंच स्वंतु पुरुष आविशेषतान्यंतः पुरुष अर्पितानि. वो जो लोग थे उस समय के, जो हमारे विद्वान थे, उनको ज्ञान था इस बात का कि ये जो 5 एलिमेंट्स हैं, इन 5 एलिमेंट्स में एक भी एलिमेंट अगर दूषित हो गया, पोल्यूटेड हो गया, उसका दुष्प्रभाव मनुष्य के जीवन पर पड़ेगा ही पड़ेगा. और इसलिए उन्होंने संतुलन को बनाए रखने के लिए जो भी एक्टिविटीज उन्होंने प्लान करी, उस सबको कहीं ना कहीं रिलीजन से जोड़ते हुए चले गए. और अगर आपको ध्यान हो, द्वयोः शांति अंतरिक्षम शांति पृथ्वी शांति रापः शांति औषधयः शांति वनस्पतयः शांति शांति विश्वे देवा शांति ब्रह्म शांति सर्व शांति देव शांति सामा शांति रेधि. एक तरह का शपथ दिलाया जाता था, जो आज भी प्रचलित है. ये शपथ आज भी प्रचलित है हमारे समाज में. तो ये सब जब आप देखते हैं तो देखते हैं जो यजुर्वेद का ऋषि है, वो सर्वत्र शांति की प्रार्थना करते हुए मानव जीवन तथा प्राकृतिक जीवन में एक एकता का दर्शन कर रहा है. ऋग्वेद का नति सूक्त, पृथ्वी सूक्त, अथर्ववेद का अरण्यानी सूक्त, ये जो क्रमशः नदियों को, पृथ्वी को, वनस्पतियों के संरक्षण एवं संवर्धन की कामना का संदेश दे रहे हैं हजारों साल पहले. भारतीय जो दृष्टि है, इंडियन जो विजडम है, वो सिंस टाइम इमेमोरियल सभी जो प्राणी हैं, जो वनस्पतियां हैं जितनी, उनके कल्याण की आकांक्षा रखती है. यत पिंडे तत ब्रह्मांडे शोक्ति भी पुरुष तथा प्रकृति के मध्य जो एक इंटरडिपेंडेंसी है, उससे जो के संबंध की जो विज्ञान साइंटिफिक कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसको भी ये उसको ये स्ट्रेंथन करती है. Now coming back to our our common future report. Our common future report says, in the middle of 20th century, we saw our planet from space for the first time. आप जो लोग थोड़ा सा ये जीके और सामान्य ज्ञान जानते होंगे, उनको पता होगा कि हम जब अपना प्लेनेट हम तभी देख पाए जब हमने प्लेनेट के बाहर अपना अर्थ के बाहर अपना पैर रखा. So in the middle of this report of our common future says, in the middle of 20th century, we saw our planet from space for the first time. Historians may eventually point that this vision had a greater impact on thought than did the Copernican revolution in the 16th century, which upset the human self-image by revealing that the earth is not the center of the universe. From space, we see a small and fragile ball dominated not by human activity and edifice, but by a pattern of clouds, oceans, greenery and soils. Humanity's inability to fit activities into that pattern is changing this planetary systems fundamentally. This we need to understand. This we need to teach in our classes, because this program is being conducted by Teacher Education Department along with IQAC. Teacher Education Department is involved, where teacher trainees are studying. Therefore, these things you all need to understand, because you have a greater responsibility on your shoulder. So this further says, many such changes are accompanied by life-threatening hazards. This new reality from which there is no escape must be recognized and managed. This is what has been said by our common future report. My dear friends, my dear colleagues, my dear students, there are also other environmental trends that threaten to radically alter the planet, that threatens the lives of many species upon it, including the human species. Surveys, if you look at, there are plenty of surveys. If you look at surveys, that each year another 6 million hectares of productive dry land turns into worthless desert. Researchers again suggests that over 3 decades, this would amount to an area roughly as large as Saudi Arabia. Much of this forest is converted to low-grade farmland, unable to support the farmers who settle it. You will be, if you look at the global scenario, you will be finding in Europe, acid precipitation kills forests and lakes and damages the artistic and architectural heritage of nations. It may have acidified vast tracts of soil beyond reasonable hope of repair. So, as again repeatedly I am quoting this report, and I am requesting repeatedly that you must read this report of World Commission Environment Development, Our Common Future. Now, if you look at the major scope followed by the Millennium Development Goals, now we are working on Sustainable Development Goals, you will be in a position to articulate entire issues. So if you look at this Commission's major scope, it says to propose long-term environmental strategy, to recommend ways ways concerned for the environment. There are many scopes. Now, why I am quoting this report, my dear friends, my dear colleagues, because if you can recall, there came a buzzword in the world of academia that is known as ESD, Education for Sustainable Development. When this report was submitted, this word appeared in the field of education as a buzzword, ESD. It became a buzzword in the world of academia, Education for Sustainable Development. And from KG to PG and across the countries, we started running behind this ESD. I am not objecting on this ESD. This is very good concept. The report is very good. The idea is very good. The suggestions are very good. I don't have any question, any doubt, any any problem on this report. But what I am recalling again, what Dr. Sivashish Jena was concluding for the previous lecture with this statement, saying Isavashmidam sarvam yat kincham jagatyam jage ten taktin bhunjita magrudah kasya siddhanam. Why I am repeating this? Because we missed this kind of sense in our curriculum. And we only started working when this commission came up with the idea of education for sustainable development. When you will be reflecting, when you will be analyzing, you will be finding that जो एजुकेशन फॉर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट है और जो ईशोपनिषद का ये श्लोक है, ये दोनों एक जैसी बातें कर, और इससे भी बहुत सारी बातें हैं, आप सब जानते हैं, बहुत सारी बातें इनमें से जानते हैं, चाहे वो सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्, ये सारी इस तरह की बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो हमारा भारतीय दर्शन, भारतीय परिप्रेक्ष्य हमको सिखाता है. I don't know how, because it is a program being conducted by Teacher Education Department. I don't know how many of you are aware of the much discussed UNDP 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Many of you are aware of this 17 Sustainable Development Goals. But how many of you have ever read the respective targets set against these goals? आप ये जो UNDP के 17 सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स हैं, इनको तो आप जानते हैं, लेकिन इनके गोल के अगेंस्ट जो टारगेट्स लिखे हैं UNDP ने अपने, उन टारगेट्स में से आपको उन टारगेट्स में से कितने ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने उन टारगेट्स को पढ़ा है? तो आपको मैं एक रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, फिर से एक और नई रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, आप आज जिन्होंने पढ़ा है जानते हैं, बहुत अच्छी बात है. जिन्होंने नहीं पढ़ा है, those who are not aware, you just go to the UNDP's website, read that 17 sustainable development goals, click on each goal, you will be finding some targets have been set. Try to read those targets as much as possible. You will be in a better position to articulate the entire idea of sustainability. Why I am saying so? Because if you look at National Education Policy document, in the very beginning, the very second paragraph, page number 3, the very second paragraph says that this National Education Policy is based on SDG 4. SDG 4. ये जो राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति का डॉक्यूमेंट बनाया गया है, when you will be opening the document after this content index etc., from where the policy is starting, read the very second paragraph. Policy is based on SDG 4. तो कम से कम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट होगी कि SDG 4 के जो टारगेट्स हैं उनको जरूर पढ़िए. Why I am saying so? Because UNDP 17 Sustainable Development Goals which triggered the world and so is India. आप चाहे जिस गोल की बात करिए, गोल 1 नो पॉवर्टी, गोल 2 जीरो हंगर, गुड हेल्थ एंड वेलबींग, क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, जेंडर इक्वालिटी, क्लीन वाटर एंड सैनिटेशन, अफोर्डेबल एंड क्लीन एनर्जी, गोल नंबर 7 है ये. देन नेक्स्ट गोल इज decent work and economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, a strong institution, and the last goal is participation to achieve the goals. ये जो 17 sustainable development goals हैं, I'm sure you must be knowing that these goals are integrated. All the 17 sustainable development goals are integrated. When I'm saying integrated, what does it mean? It means that they recognize that action in one area will affect outcome in others. यानी अगर हम SDG 4 पर काम करेंगे तो बाकी के जो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स हैं वो अपने आप प्रभावित होंगे. अगर आप क्वालिटी एजुकेशन पर काम करोगे तो वो पॉवर्टी को भी प्रभावित करेगा, वो जीरो हंगर को भी प्रभावित करेगा, वो हेल्थ को भी प्रभावित करेगा, वो जेंडर इक्वालिटी को भी संभालेगा, वो क्लीन वाटर को भी संभालेगा, वो डिसेंट वर्क कराएगा, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ कराएगा, इनइक्वालिटी को रिड्यूस करेगा, सस्टेनेबल सिटीज खड़े करेगा, क्लाइमेट एक्शन पर ध्यान देगा, वाटर के ऊपर ध्यान देगा, पीस एंड जस्टिस पीस एंड जस्टिस स्ट्रॉन्ग इंस्टीट्यूशन के ऊपर ध्यान देगा. सो that is meaning of that 17 sustainable development goals are integrated. So that is why national education policy is focusing upon sustainable development goal number 4. Sustainable development goal number 4. Very precisely it has written that SDG 4 is having precise implications for education. for entire education system. National education policy का अगर आप, मैंने आपको पैराग्राफ नंबर 2 रेफर किया. If you will be reading that paragraph, you will be reading the goal. What goal it has mentioned? It is mentioning ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. This is the goal. I am repeating this goal again, which has been mentioned by National Education Policy. जिनको समझ में ना आया हो, राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति का डॉक्यूमेंट डाउनलोड कर लें, प्रिंट आउट कर लें. एक और मजे की बात है, 3 साल लगभग हो गया है और मेरा अनुभव कहता है कि अभी भी हम में से बहुत बड़ा नंबर है हमारे स्टूडेंट्स का, स्कॉलर्स का, फैकल्टीज का, जिन्होंने नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के डॉक्यूमेंट को पूरा नहीं पढ़ा है. तो आप पैराग्राफ नंबर 2 को पढ़िए, वहां पर एक गोल मेंशन है, इंश्योर इंक्लूसिव एंड इक्विटेबल क्वालिटी एजुकेशन and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And whenever I read this goal, I often, especially when we're referring to this when I'm deliberating this in a teacher training institution, I often say that this is the high time, keeping in view this goal. Now you need to start working upon 3 things: pedagogy, andragogy, heutagogy. केवल पेडागोजी है आपके परव्यू में ना रहे, एंड्रागोजी को भी लीजिए अपने हिस्से में और ह्यूटागोजी को भी लीजिए, क्योंकि लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग है और डिजिटल इंटरवेंशन है. लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग है और डिजिटल इंटरवेंशन है. देयरफॉर कीपिंग इन व्यू दिस गोल, पेडागोजी, एंड्रागोजी, ह्यूटागोजी मस्ट बी एड्रेस्ड बाय टीचर एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट्स. My dear friends, my dear colleagues, there are many issues in this entire, because this is such a big theme. Now let me recall one of the statement from Gandhiji. Gandhiji used to say, nature has everything to satisfy everyone's need. I am repeating once again. Gandhiji used to say, nature has everything to satisfy everyone's need, but not anyone's greed. कहते हैं कि प्रकृति के पास इतना है कि वो इस जगत के जितने भी लोग हैं, सबकी जो जरूरतें हैं उनको सेटिस्फाई कर सकता है, बट लेकिन किसी एक व्यक्ति के लालच को ये सेटिस्फाई नहीं कर सकता. नेचर हैज एवरीथिंग टू सेटिस्फाई एवरीवन्स नीड, बट नॉट एनीवन्स ग्रीड. अथर्ववेद, इफ यू रेफर अथर्ववेद, अथर्ववेद कहता है, माता भूमि पुत्रो अहम पृथिव्या. ये धरती हमारी माता है, हम इसके पुत्र हैं. धरती माता हमारे जीवन के अस्तित्व का एक प्रमुख आधार है, हमारा पोषण करती है. इसलिए वेद आगे कहते हैं, उपसर्प मातरम भूमिम, हे मनुष्यो मातृभूमि की सेवा कर. नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट ए फिलोसॉफी लेक्चर, कमिंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, बिकॉज Dr. Subhashish Jaina is expecting to relate it to national education policy. Coming back to the point, ये जो हमसे गलतियां हुई हैं, भूलें हुई हैं, because after independence we could not address our curriculums in an expected manner. I don't want to take you back into the history, but I would like to recall here 5 guiding principles of the National Curriculum Framework 2005. It says a lot. It says a lot. And I'm sure because these 5 principles were discussed thoroughly in last now around 20 years, 2 decades. This National Curriculum Framework 2005 says the fact that learning has become a source of burden and stress on children and their parents is an evidence of deep distortion in educational aims and quality. So, curriculum framework suggests to correct this distortion 5 guiding principles. It is a old issue now because we are now working upon new curriculum frameworks. But these 5 frameworks, especially these 5 principles especially are relevant because the first principle says connecting knowledge to life outside the school. This we have missed since independence. Connecting knowledge to life outside the school. हम उस देश के लोग हैं जहां हम बच्चे को सच बोलना सिखाते हैं और उसी घर में जब पिताजी के पास फोन आता है तो वो पिताजी बच्चे से कहते हैं, कह दो पापा घर पर नहीं है. ये वही देश है जहां पर हम एनवायरनमेंट की कक्षाएं लेते हैं और कक्षा से निकलने के बाद जलता हुआ बल्ब और चलता हुआ पंखा छोड़ के बाहर चले आते हैं. तो कथनी और करनी में बहुत अंतर है। सो कनेक्टिंग नॉलेज टू लाइफ आउटसाइड द स्कूल, बहुत सारे प्रिंसिपल्स हैं, मैं उनका रिलेवेंस यहाँ नहीं, इसलिए उसको बहुत मेंशन नहीं करूंगा। So far as interdisciplinarity is concerned, because if you look at the national education policy document, it is focusing upon multidisciplinarity. Policy says that ये जो सारे जो recommendations हैं, सारे जो ideas हैं, इन सब के बीच में multidisciplinarity उसका बहुत बड़ा emphasis है, बहुत बड़ा push है। और इस multidisciplinarity को एक्सप्लेन करने के लिए इफ यू लुक एट पॉलिसी डॉक्यूमेंट, वो बहुत सारे जो पुराने हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं प्राचीन भारत के, उनको और प्राचीन भारत के जो स्कॉलर्स उनका नाम लेकर के कोट करें, व्हेन यू विल बी रीडिंग दैट पॉलिसी यू विल बी इन अ पोजीशन टू रिलेट। तो सो फार एज दिस interdisciplinarity, multidisciplinarity is concerned, I am quoting here my very famous lines which I often quote from the very wonderful and heart-touching article written by Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. हमारी दिक्कत क्या है कि हम बहुत बड़ी बड़ी चीजें पढ़ते हैं और छोटी छोटी चीजें भूल जाते हैं, मिस कर देते हैं। मेरा मतलब I was fortunate enough, I got an opportunity to serve the ashram of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore for almost 10 years, and I could read a little on Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. उनका एक आर्टिकल है माई स्कूल। अदिति, आप अपने बच्चों को ये आर्टिकल सर्कुलेट कर दीजिएगा, उसको पढ़ेंगे जो उन्होंने लिखा था। बहुत ही हार्ट टचिंग है, बहुत ही हार्ट टचिंग है ये आर्टिकल। क्या कहते हैं वो लाइनें, मैं आपको है हूबहू वो लाइनें सुनाता हूँ। बहुत ही फेमस, मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगती हैं लाइनें, और मुझे लगता है कि हम कोई इस पूरे सेशन से कोई एक बात अगर सीख लेंगे तो इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का मकसद जो है वो हल हो जाएगा। और जितने सेशंस हुए हैं, हर सेशन से एक एक बात भी हम सीख लेते हैं। खैर, गुरुदेव रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर लिखते हैं, he writes in this article that our childhood should be given its full measure of life's drought, for which it has an endless thirst. The young mind should be saturated with the idea that it has been born in a human world which is in harmony with the world around it. एक एक लाइन का मीनिंग है, आउटस्टैंडिंग बातें लिखते हैं वो। मैं फिर से रिपीट कर दूं, the young mind should be saturated with the idea that it has been born in a human world which is in harmony with the world around it. And then Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore shares his pain, and he writes further, and this is what our regular type of school ignores with an air of superior wisdom, severe and disdainful. Then he writes, it forcibly snatches away children from a world full of the mystery of God's own handiwork, full of the suggestiveness of personality. कहते हैं बच्चों से छीन लेता है उनका बचपना जो ईश्वर ने बनाया है उनके इर्द गिर्द, उनसे वो बचपना छीन ले रहे हैं हमारे स्कूल्स। फिर वो लिखते हैं आगे, इट इज अ मेयर मेथड ऑफ डिसिप्लिन which refuses to take into account the individual. और फिर वो लिखते हैं, it is a manufactory especially designed for grinding out uniform results. कहते हैं उसको हम मिक्सर में जैसे हम बनाते हैं ना, कोई मसाला डालते हैं और मिक्सर चला देते हैं और वो यूनिफॉर्म पीस के आ जाता है, ऐसे ही मसाला पीसना चाह रहे हैं अपने बच्चों का। फिर वो कहते हैं, it follows an imaginary straight line of the average in digging its channel of education. फिर वो कहते हैं, गुरुदेव रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर कहते हैं, but life's line is not a straight line. But life's line is not a straight line, for it is fond of playing the seesaw. हम seesaw करते हैं, हम straight line पे हमारे बच्चे नहीं चलते हैं। Because it is fond of playing the seesaw with the line of the average, bringing upon its head the rebuke of the school. और फिर वो लिखते हैं, और ये लाइनें अगर हमारे टीचर ट्रेनीज पढ़ ले, ये पूरा आर्टिकल पढ़ ले, तो बहुत कुछ मिलेगा 9.3D पर काम करने के लिए। नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी का 9.3D लिख लीजिए, बाद में डॉक्यूमेंट खोलिएगा, 9.3 पॉइंट पढ़िएगा, सबसेक्शन डी पढ़िएगा। फिर गुरुदेव रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर कहते हैं, फॉर According to the school, life is perfect when it allows itself to be treated as dead. To be treated as dead. To be cut into symmetrical conveniences. And फिर वो लिखते हैं, this was the cause of my suffering when I was sent to school. ये बहुत इमोशनल आर्टिकल है. इसको जब भी मैं पढ़ता हूं तो मुझे सेंसेशन होता है और आंख में मेरे पानी आ जाता है. इसको आप पढ़िएगा, जरूर पढ़िएगा, मन से पढ़िएगा. आपको बहुत सारी बातें मिलेंगी सस्टेनेबिलिटी के लिए, एनवायरमेंट के लिए, नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी के इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के लिए. और जब इन्हें ये आर्टिकल उनका पढ़ा और उनका उनकी एक चिंता है, एक व्यंग है गुरुदेव रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर का, वो मैं अक्सर साझा करता हूं. 2 लाइन का व्यंग है. व्यंग कहो, चिंता कहूं, कंसर्न कहूं, सार्काज्म कहूं, जो भी कहूं, गुरुदेव रविन्द्रनाथ टैगोर कहते हैं that education is a living, not a mechanical process, is a truth as freely admitted as it is persistently ignored. कहते हैं शिक्षा क्या है? एक लिविंग प्रोसेस है, ना कि यांत्रिक प्रक्रिया. ये एक सत्य है. इस सत्य को हम बड़ी शिद्दत से स्वीकार करते हैं और उतनी शिद्दत से इसका हम तिरस्कार करते हैं. तो मुझे लगता है this is a teacher education department. You must take care of all such concerns while you are working on your curriculum, because मेरा अपना ऐसा मानना है कि हम अपने समाज में कोई भी चेंज स्कूल के माध्यम से ला सकते हैं. स्कूल में चेंजेस लाने के लिए टीचर्स को ग्रूम करना जरूरी है. टीचर्स को ग्रूम करने की जिम्मेदारी टीचर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन की है. जब तक ये पूरा रिलेशन सिम्बायोटिक नहीं होगा, वी विल लीड नोवेयर. नाउ आई एम जस्ट रिमाइंडिंग वन ऑफ द famous line from T.S. Eliot, where is the wisdom? We have lost in knowledge. Where is the knowledge? We have lost in information. The cycle of even in 20th century bring us farther from God and nearer to dust. In the past more than 7.5 decades, we have done many mistakes. We need to overcome those mistakes. And therefore, I would like to congratulate again this institution, this department, the organizers. And I will be concluding again by quoting few lines from Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's article, where Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore says, "We have come to this world to accept it, not merely to know it. Mind it. We may become powerful by knowledge, but we may attain fullness by sympathy." Listen it very carefully. We may become powerful by knowledge, but we attain fullness by sympathy. Then he says, the highest education is that which does not merely gives us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. This is what I would like to conclude. And just last line, institutions like this, like yours, should come forward. Take initiative on 9.3D, take initiative on 12.6, take initiative on 15.9, and then you will be in a better position to contribute. Also, I would like to place my request to read the guiding principles of National Education Policy, which has been mentioned at page number 456 of National Education Policy, English version document. It will give you enough understanding to articulate your ideas. I wish the great success of the event. I am sure, keeping in view the hard-working faculty members of this institution, I am sure you are going to bring some published publication, this entire articulation, entire discourse in some publication form. I wish great success to this program. Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful learning opportunity. Thank you one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ashish Srivastava sir. Thank you so much for your valuable speech. Really, we are enlightened and boosted by your speech, and we are really spellbound when you are uttering the Sanskrit sloks, and also sometimes you are talking in Hindi, sometimes talking in English, and we really enjoyed it. And your speech just enlightened us really. And I am also, when you are talking about those things, I'm also thinking about that we must understand the line Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, and one future. Until and unless we can understand this line, we cannot go forward. So it's time to rethink. Now we are living in the era of science. Our life is moving mechanically. We have no time to stand and stare. the more we are exploring day by day by science and technology, that the more we are degrading our natural disaster and ecocides. So now it is the time to rethink about our environmental education. Until and unless we have such conception, we cannot save our Mother Earth. So we must understand this, and your lecture boosted us and we are really enlightened. Thank you so much. And your just words, and I'm also repeating those lines: Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhavavet. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. With these words, with this slok, I congratulate you, welcome you all. Thank you so much. Namaste. With this, I am concluding this session. Thank you so much for participating and enjoying our lecture. Thank you, Ashish Srivastava. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.